4 repairs you need before you sell your house. We'll talk about that along with the Los Gatos House of the Week, price reductions, and Santa Clara County's highs and lows. Let's get moving here. So today we are looking at getting ready for staging. Now, this is assuming that you have your house ready to sell. But before you put it on market, you want to make sure that it's ready to go, not just staging, but also ready to sell. Now, if there's certain things that you want to make sure that your house looks good, etc. So let's get into this. Update the exterior. That's a no-brainer, right? Paint the house. Should you put little storm shutters on the windows, flowers, whether they're annuals or perennials, update the bushes and the trees, make sure that looks trimmed up and cleaned. Give it the curb appeal that it deserves. The first 5 seconds that a person is driving up to your house, they're going to make a judgment as to whether or not they're going to want to buy that house. And the curb appeal makes a huge difference, as does the backyard. I see a lot of flippers come in and they update the front yard. They do a lot of stuff, sometimes hokey in the inside, but then they leave the backyard looking like crap and it looks overrun or just bare land or choppy grass. Make it look good. Make it look like it's presentable so that people want to just move in, that kind of thing. Check the air conditioning. Make sure the air conditioning works. And I talked about this a couple of weeks ago about air conditioning. And I want to say, I can't remember what the number was, but it was a huge number between houses that sell with air conditioning and without. If you want to look at that blog post, it's in my blog, today's blog, which is linked below. You'll get a link right to it, but it's right here. And I can tell you right now, the difference is without air conditioning. A couple of years ago, it was $100,000 difference. I just did it a couple of weeks ago. It was a difference, $281,000 difference. Huge. It's a huge number. Now, it's not guaranteeing you that you're going to make more money, that kind of money on your house just because you put air conditioning in, but it does help because a house with air conditioning, especially coming this week, because we're going to see temperatures go up to 95 degrees, people want to use that air conditioning. They want to get the utility out of it. And yes, it's expensive, but you do get a huge ROI on or return on investment on air conditioning. And typically what we see is houses with air conditioning means that they're taking care of the house or updating it, making it look prettier. They maintain it a little bit better. So the value is there. It just is there. And I can show you the numbers. If you want, I can show you how I did the search. I'll sit down with you at a coffee shop or a bar and walk through the entire process. It's not like I'm throwing these numbers out there. Make sure your air conditioning works too. I came in a couple of days ago from Washington and it was a hot day and the air conditioning was on, but windows were open. So I don't know if it was really working. Make sure everything works. Turn it on, make sure it cools down. And it does take a while for your house to cool down, but there you go. Also, if you're showing a property and it's hot out, make sure you keep the air conditioning at a cool level, lower than you normally would if you lived there. You're supposed to have it about 78, to keep it moderate. Keep it down 72, 74. Keeps it cooler. People will feel comfortable, etc. They might open the windows and doors, but you're going to go back and close them anyway. But make sure your air conditioning works. I can't tell you how many times I see scratches on my floors. I know that when I go to sell this house, if I ever go to sell this house, I'm going to have to sand down the floors and update them. I put wood and engineered wood on it. Not saying you have to do it. You can do laminate. And here's one thing I can tell you. If you're going to sell a house, don't do the LPV. I know the floor guys think, hey, that's the greatest thing since sliced bread. It has a long wear history. At the end of the day, it's linoleum tile. That's all it is. Instead of them selling it to you in a roll or in little squares, it's a big long rectangle to make it look like floor, but it doesn't give off the expensive vibe. It doesn't give off the vibe that you've invested money. It gives off a cheap rental vibe. Now, if you have a rental, by all means, put LPV in there. I'm not a fan of it. I don't like it. When I see it, it just resonates cheap to me. Or durable. So if you have an office or a rental or what have you, do it, but not to sell your house. Spend the extra money because it will really shine a whole lot more. You're not going to get the ROI you would as air conditioning, but you will get something more value out of it, right? Check the plumbing and electrical system and your appliances. Make sure all your appliances work well. Make sure your plumbing works well. Make sure the drains all drain quickly. The water pours out correctly. There's no leaks underneath the house. And yes, you should have a property inspection done before you get the house on sale, just so that you know what's there and you can get to the things that you can fix that makes sense for you. An electrical system. I don't know how many houses I've sold that a switch doesn't work or a plug doesn't work. Guys, you need to make things work, right? They just didn't work. You can't sell a house without the plugs and the electrical system working. It will turn off a huge majority of buyers. If they see that, what else is wrong with the house? So before you stage the house, do some basic repairs. Before you call your realtor, know what's wrong with the house, get that stuff done. All right. And again, this link to this air conditioning blog is in all the comments below and the blog that I'll send out today, just so you can have access to it. Tuesday house of the week. And the reason why I picked this one, because of the proximity to downtown. I pick out these houses because they're close to the downtown. And why I like that is because you can stroll to the town, have your coffee in the morning, stroll back and relax and make a day out of it, or a morning out of it. Or you can go there in the evening, you can meet your friends there, etc. Now, this house is large. It's 3,300 square foot, 5-bedroom, 4.5 baths, and it was built in 2000. It's an older house, but it was rebuilt completely. This one's $3.5 million, but it's Los Gatos. I can tell you straight up that this was not built in 2000. So this house is going to be on market for a while because it's not being marketed correctly. Pretty house, pretty everything, but only 10 pictures. Original list price, $33.5 million. It's on market for 43 days. So probably a little more than what the value is, but I can tell you that when you have the house listed at $2 million or listed at being built in 2000, which it wasn't, maybe it was burnt down, maybe, I don't know, but it's not worth $3.5 million because obviously it's still on market after 30 days. List price reductions, there were 144 of them, and I picked out this one because it's in Saratoga, listed at $3.5 million, 5-bedroom, 4.5 bath, 3,200 square feet, built in 1998. I can tell you the reason why it's not selling is location. Now, Saratoga, everybody would love to live in Saratoga, but when you're right by a freeway, you have to be aware of that. And this house is right on the freeway. Even though it faces the freeway and it's a half a street away, still on the freeway. You still get a lot of freeway noise, and that will prevent this house from selling for a long time. Original list price was 3.8. Now it's down to 3.5. It's been on market 54 days. I would suggest not being a market maker, but bring the market to you. So list it low and see what happens. Just the way it's set up, simply because when this house was built, it was built to fill in the gap for when they put in 85, and it's right next to the freeway. Houses next to freeways just don't sell as hard or as fast than a house that's a half a mile away. Let's say Devon or Vanderbilt or what have you. So there you go. Highs and lows. This is Maple Street, sold in 8 days. These are the highs and lows for Santa Clara County the last 7 days. So this is the highest sold, $15 million, 6-bedroom, 8.5 baths. And it has an ADU, which is nice. And then it's 5,600 square feet. So it's awesome. Let's take a quick look at this one. Spanish Revival, nice house. It is pretty. It's the Dunker House. It's on the National Register. I got to do a video on historic places because there's certain things you can and can't do, and there's certain restrictions that you have when you buy a house that's under that, like how you paint it, what updates you can do to it, kind of thing. You see the Spanish tile here. It's a beautiful kitchen. Look at that. Luxury and opulence right here, guys. Beautiful. All right, if you want to look at it, it's in the blog. Let's see. Okay, and then the lowest was $775,000 in San Jose on Sunny Slope. These are not my listings. It sold before it ever got to market. 3-bedroom, 1 bath, 1,000 square feet, built in 1950 in the Alum Rock area. Only one picture, so not much to look at, but it's a standard house I sold over there. So the thing when you look at houses that are sold off market, I don't believe you get to see what the market will deliver. So I'm not a big fan of the coming soon and selling off market. Call me wrong. Waverly Street in Palo Alto. This is the highest active home. It's been on market. This has been the highest active for sale home in Santa Clara County for a while now. It's 29 million, almost 30 million. It's a 5-bedroom, 6.5 bath, 7,100 square foot lot. And it's a beautiful house. It just screams beautiful. So if you have $30 million and you want to write a check, let's go take a look at this thing. It has a nice little atrium. That's beautiful. I really like that. Again, you can take a look at these when you go to the blog. The links are there. And this one's been on market for 8 days now. Talked about it 2 weeks ago. The Cinnabon Trail, not my listing. It's in Camcata Park, and it's in near Redwood Estates in the Los Gatos Mountains. So you're way far away. It might be overpriced for the value, but we'll see. What you're going to get here is the land, because it's 6 square feet, 1 bedroom, 1 bath. All right, guys. Today we talked about 4 repairs you should really consider before you even get started on staging or getting your house ready to sell. We talked about Los Gatos, home of the week, price reductions. We looked at a couple houses there, and we looked at the